Hey everyone, welcome back to Behind Bars Blueprint, where we navigate some of the toughest parts of the incarceration process together. Today we've got a big one. We're going to tackle confidence going into the courtroom. Now, this typically means going in for your sentencing, where it can be pretty overwhelming, pretty scary. But today we're going to give you 3 tips that you can have to go in with confidence and not arrogance. Let's get started. So tip number 1, know your case inside and out. Judges and juries respect a defendant that knows what their situation is and knows what they're facing. It shows that you've taken time to learn, that you've taken a personal interest in your case, the court's time, the jury's time, because a lot of these court cases, they wind up where people just don't seem like they care. They don't know anything, or they're constantly referring to their attorney, or they're not asking questions. They just come in very, very unprepared. And it shows that you are actually invested in the process, even though you're the defendant. And that's what you want, because at this point, you're going to be sentenced to, this is what this video is about, assuming that you've either had a plea deal or that you've been found guilty by a jury of your peers. Whatever the case, you're going to the courtroom for sentencing, and you want to make sure that throughout the entire process, not necessarily just the sentencing, but the entire process, that you know your case inside and out. You ask intelligent questions, you speak with your attorney, you make regular phone calls and have constant communication with him or her. But you want to make sure that you know your case inside and out, and that shows respect to the judge, it shows respect to the jury, it shows respect to the prosecutor, and that's one of those things where that just might benefit you come sentencing time. What do you mean specifically? What can I possibly do? Great question. One thing you want to do is spend 15, 20 minutes a day, minimum of 10, I would say, reviewing your case, just going over it, just going over dates and times and anything that may not be clear to you, something that you don't understand. But make sure every day you're just spending a little time reviewing your case. I know it might not be fun, you don't really want to dwell on it, but this is the way that something all of a sudden might pop out to you. I'm not saying necessarily, oh, it's the, I'm going to get off, I'm going to get, set free. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is something may come up to you like, hey, I don't understand this. I don't know what we're doing here with this. Which brings me to an exercise. What I would recommend that you do, even pause the video, is write down something about your case, either one that you've had in the past, if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're going through one right now. Write something down about your case right now that you just don't understand, or something that, I wish I understood this just a little bit better. I would even encourage you to leave it in the comment section down below. Maybe some of us can chime in, give you some feedback on that. But do a little exercise right now. Sit down, actually be intentional, and write down something. Hey, this is something I'd like to know more about, or I don't understand. And then be intentional. Take that to your attorney and say, hey, help me understand this a little bit better. What am I missing here? Or can you clarify this point a little bit better? But you need to get your hands dirty. You need to start working on it. And again, that's going to carry over into the courtroom and even into the sentencing. It's going to show that you put some time into it and that you're being very intentional and that you care about the process and how it goes down. Which brings us to tip number 2, and that is practice your statement. Okay? And that doesn't mean you're going to try to audition for the world's best actor or actress, right? This is, you're being sincere. You're trying to say, hey, I have a message I need to convey. And we're going to talk about the message in a second, but you need to practice your statement. You don't want to get up there and roll your eyes or roll your shoulders. Your eyes are wandering around the courtroom and it just looks like you're searching for something to say. You want to be intentional. And again, I'm going to use that word a lot, not just throughout this video, but throughout this entire program. It's the same thing that we use with our clients. When we're talking with them, you have to be intentional about what you're doing. And that's just a fancy way of saying take charge, right? And that comes down to your statement. You want to say things, be contrite. You want to say things like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm seeking help. Take responsibility. Absolutely take responsibility, especially if you took a plea deal. Take responsibility. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people say, well, I'm only doing this because the court said I had to, or, well, I'm innocent, but that right there, nobody's listening. I can be honest with you. And if the judge or the jury were thinking about being lenient, that probably went out the window. So you want to make sure that you take responsibility, and especially, listen, if you're guilty, you're guilty. Okay? Take responsibility for it and say, you know what, I take responsibility for my actions. This is not something that I should have done. It was a terrible, terrible decision, and all I'm going to do from this point forward is to seek and strive to do better. And understand that your consequences are coming. You know that, judge knows that, jury knows that, prosecutor knows that, and hopefully by this point your loved one knows that too, that you prepared them for what's to come. But make sure that you practice your statement so when you go in, it doesn't look like you're just winging it, that it looks like you took time, that you cared enough, that you actually put some thought behind it. So when you address the court, it looks very intentional and is intentional, and that will come off to the judge, the jury, and everyone else in the courtroom. So what does practicing your statement look like? Well, Again, stay away from the excuses. Judges see right through this. Juries see right through this. Do not make any excuses. You want to keep your statement to about 1 or 2 minutes. You don't want to drone on and on about, history and background, and I had such a poor life, and, that all may be true, but that's not what you're there for to do in this particular statement. You're trying to address the court and address the concerns, and address the concerns of the victim and their family as well. So you want to make sure you keep about 1 to 2 minutes. You don't go on and on and on. And what I would do as another exercise, just like we did in tip number 1, is take some time and write down just a 30-second statement, just to practice, something where you take responsibility or where you're apologizing, but make it sincere. And then you want to get in front of a mirror and practice this. And I would highly recommend, if at all possible, you don't stand there and read it. If you have to, that's fine. But if you can memorize it enough and just memorize the key points and then talk from the key points, do it in front of a mirror, and you start by just doing a 30-second speech. Okay, just get in front of a mirror, because you want to see, how am I coming off? Am I slunking my shoulders over? Am I looking in different directions? Am I saying too much? Anything like that. But you want to practice it before you go in, because remember, you're trying to show the court that, hey, you're taking this seriously, that this is important, that you understand what your actions have led to, and that you're taking responsibility for them. And you can do that by putting forth a very solid, concise statement. Tip number 3 might sound a little strange to you, but it is very important. You want to visualize success. You want to visualize being calm and being successful. Now, you're probably saying, hey, look, I'm getting ready to be sentenced to jail or prison. I don't call that success. I get it, but you've got to roll with the punches, okay? This is the cards that have been dealt. You've had a hand in that card dealing, and you're going to have to take responsibility for that. And there's no sense in giving up and just throwing in all the chips, right? So be confident when you're going into the courtroom, and the way you do that is visualize your success. For example, I'm going to make my statement like in tip number 2. My statement's going to come off very clear and concise. Take some deep breaths before you go in. Find a quiet place before you go into the courtroom and take a few deep breaths. Calm yourself down. So say, hey, I'm going to be sincere. I'm going to own this. I'm not going to try to come off like I'm making excuses. I'm not going to come off as not caring. I'm going to be upfront. I'm going to be honest about this. And when it comes, I'm going to take it with my head held high. Not in arrogance. Again, you're not being arrogant, and people can very easily interpret confidence as arrogance. Confidence is when you know something. Okay, confidence is when, hey, I'm confident of this, I'm certain of this because I've done the homework, I've done the research, and I know pretty much what to expect. I know what I'm dealing with. Arrogance, a lot of times, is the exact opposite. Hey, I'm just the greatest thing ever, and I have no idea why. You don't want to come off like that. And I have been with clients, and I have been in courtrooms where I have seen some pretty serious cases where the person was, I think they were trying to come off confident, and it came off very, very arrogant, and it did not go well for the sentencing. It did not end well for that individual. I've had clients that have done it the other way. They have been very contrite. They have been prepared. They had calmed themselves before they went in, and it actually went fairly well. The sentencing, the judge even said, hey, we were looking at 6 years in this particular case. Like, obviously, I'm not going to name names, but you know what? I think you seem to understand the severity of your actions, and so we're going to do 3 years and then 3 on probation. Boy, that's half the time that you're going to be spending in prison or jail. So, and that was simply from what the judge had acknowledged. Hey, you seem sincere. You seem like you understand the mistakes you've made. So we're going to do it this way. They got 6 years, but not all of it was behind bars. And there you have it, guys. 3 tips to help you build confidence for your sentencing in the courtroom. You want to make sure, again, don't go in arrogant. Go in confident, knowing that you've done the homework, knowing that you've prepared for this, and typically it will turn out much, much better for you. Hey, if you have any comments, guys, leave them down below. We'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. If there's any topics you want to have us cover, please let me know in the comments. You can also email me at behindbarsblueprint@gmail.com. Our website, www.behindbarsblueprint.com, has a ton of resources on it. We've got other videos you can link to that go over other topics. We've got our entire workbook series. You see the one over my shoulder here. That's just one of many that will help you walk through whatever phase you're in step by step. And you can give us a call, 260-228-2626, and talk with us directly. We're here to help. That's what we want to do. We've got a lot of experienced people that have knowledge that they want to share, and if this is your first time going through, great. We'd love to help. If it's your 10th time going through, we have things we can give you for that as well. Okay, there's something for everybody in this program. So I hope you find this helpful today, guys. Again, if you don't mind, give me a like and subscribe, and until next time, keep the faith, stay strong.